All right, let's talk about something you interact with every single day, but probably never really think about: cellulose. We're going to figure out why this stuff, the very building block of the plant world, turns into something truly extraordinary when we shrink it down to the nanoscale.
So get this. What if I told you that we could make something that's literally stronger than steel and has colors more vibrant than a butterfly's wing, and it all comes from a tree? I know, it sounds like something straight out of sci-fi, but this is the real and, frankly, amazing world of nanocellulose.
And it all starts with things we see all the time, like wood or cotton. Scientists can actually pull out these tiny microscopic crystals from them. And here's the magic part. These crystals can put themselves together to create these incredible, vivid colors without using a single drop of ink or dye. It's wild.
Okay, so how is any of that even possible? Well, before we get to the how, we've got to cover the what. Let's start with the basics. Nature's abundant building block. What is cellulose anyway?
Simply put, cellulose is the most common organic polymer on Earth. I mean, it is everywhere. It's basically a long chain of sugar molecules, glucose, linked together. And it's the stuff that gives plants their structure. It's the reason trees are so strong and why cotton is soft. And you find it in all sorts of places. Of course, there's the obvious stuff like wood pulp and cotton. Those are huge industries. But get this, it's also made by bacteria, algae, and even these weird little sea creatures called tunicates. You might know them as sea squirts. Yeah, nature really, really loves to make cellulose. Okay, so to get to those superpowers we were talking about, we have to go on a journey from the big stuff we can see all the way down to the nanoscale. So, next up, how do we actually make these cellulose nanocrystals?
Well, scientists use what they call a top-down approach. Think of it like this. They take big cellulose fibers from, say, a tree, and they just strip away all the messy, disorganized stuff. What they're looking for are these tiny, perfect, crystal-like regions that are hidden deep inside. So the process has a few steps. First, you purify the source material. Then you homogenize it, which is just a fancy word for breaking it down into smaller bits. But the real key is the third step: acid hydrolysis. Use a strong acid to literally dissolve away all the jumbled, messy parts. The technical term is amorphous regions. And what's left behind? Just these perfect, tiny, rod-shaped nanocrystals. We call them CNCs for short.
All right, so we've got our nanocrystals, and now we get to the fun part, the payoff. Let's talk about their superpowers. We're talking about mind-blowing strength and amazing color. There's a quote from the research that just nails it. Nanocrystalline cellulose is a low-density material that's stronger than steel. Just let that sink in for a second. This stuff, which comes from plants, is stronger by weight than steel. It's a total game changer. And we can actually put a number to that strength. Some of these nanocrystals have a tensile strength of around 7.5 gigapascals. That makes them not just crazy strong, but also stiffer than something like aluminum. We're talking about a genuine high-performance material here.
But you know, strength is only half the story. Let's get back to that incredible color. I mean, how can these tiny, totally transparent crystals create these vibrant colors with no pigment or dye? The secret isn't what they are, it's how they organize themselves.
It's a phenomenon called cholesteric self-assembly. And what that means is, when you put these little rod-shaped crystals in water, they don't just float around all willy-nilly. Nope, they actually on their own start arranging themselves into this twisted spiral structure. You can literally picture it like a bunch of tiny, perfect spiral staircases.
So you start with the crystals all jumbled up in a liquid. But as that liquid, usually water, starts to dry out, the crystals get squeezed closer and closer together. And that spiral staircase structure we talked about, it gets locked in. You end up with a solid film that is now what we call a photonic material. It's engineered by nature to interact with light in a very specific way.
And here's the kicker. The spacing between those twists, it's called the pitch, is what determines which color of light gets reflected back at you. So by controlling that tiny little distance, you can make the material reflect blue or green or red or anything in between. It's something called structural color. It's actually the very same trick nature uses to give peacock feathers and butterfly wings their shimmer. So this is way more than just a cool lab experiment. These properties are poised to completely revolutionize modern materials, taking them from the lab right into our real lives. And the potential uses? They are vast, because you've got this unique combination of strength, lightweight, the fact that it's biologically friendly, and these amazing optical properties. Well, people are looking to use nanocellulose in pretty much every industry you can think of. let's just take the biomedical field, for example. Because this stuff comes from plants, it's biocompatible. That means our bodies don't reject it. So it's perfect for things like advanced wound dressings that can actually help you heal faster, for systems that deliver drugs exactly where they need to go, or even as scaffolds to help regrow human tissue.
And it's a total game changer for materials science, too. You can add it to plastics to make them stronger and lighter at the same time. You can make super efficient filters with it, create really sensitive electronic sensors, or even develop food packaging that creates a barrier to oxygen, keeping your food fresh for way longer.
Now, with all this incredible potential, you can bet it's becoming big business. We are watching the rise of a billion-dollar biomaterial, one that could be a huge part of a more sustainable future.
What's driving all this? Well, it's the huge global push to move away from fossil fuels and toward materials that are sustainable and renewable. Nanocellulose is like the perfect candidate to meet that demand. And because of that, the market is just exploding.
And the numbers really tell the story here. The market is expected to be worth over $1 billion by 2026. But look ahead to 2033, it's projected to be nearly $4 billion. That's a growth rate of almost 20% a year. I mean, that's just a massive sign that this technology is taking off.
And if we look at where this is happening, North America has the biggest piece of the pie right now, about 35%, mostly because of all the research and innovation happening there. But Europe and the Asia-Pacific region are right behind, and they're growing fast, especially with governments pushing for more sustainable, circular economies.
So all this brings us to a final thought. Just by taking a closer look at one of the most common materials on Earth, we've unlocked these incredible properties that could literally reshape our world. It just makes you wonder, right? As we keep looking for new, sustainable solutions, what other amazing secrets are hiding out there in nature, just waiting for us to find them?